Hey folks, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on greenhouse number 2. Me and Marquita came up here last night and kind of squared the building up a little bit, but it was a much simpler process squaring this greenhouse as opposed to our first one. Since we wanted to get that greenhouse parallel with the store, there's a lot more involved in doing that. Of course, we'd have to pull a diagonal from the far corner of the building down to that corner of the shop to get it square with the building. So, but since we know that this building here is actually parallel and square to the store, it was really much easier for us this time to square this building, because we know that we wanted 3 foot in between the building and the next greenhouse, so we just measured 3 foot off that post to get this line here. Same thing down there on the other end, so we know this line is straight. Next, we have our other line here for the front of the building. Well, earlier in the year, if you see that far post out there by the concrete, that is the end post where the end of the greenhouse number 3 will be. Well, I already got the diagonal off of the building there to make sure that was square, so we knew this line was basically straight. We just hooked it on the edge of the building there, if you can see that, and then I strung it all the way out there to make sure that we were straight. So we had this line was pretty much already at a 90. It was good. Again, I did the 3, 4, 5 method just to confirm. I measure out 4 foot there, and then 3 foot here, and then measure the diagonal, which should be 5, and it was square. So unlike greenhouse number 1, we're using the fancy metal poles or posts. We had to go with 4x4s here, mainly because this is what we're dealing with. The guy that gave me the greenhouse, these are the brackets we made. We will take lags and put them into the post, and then the bows will go into here. So that's basically kind of how that works. So we're probably going to set you guys up with a little time lapse here, and we'll catch up when we get some other stuff done. Hey, good evening, folks. So just thought to catch you guys up. It's been a minute. We were working this morning. We've been working pretty much all day, and as you can see behind me, we got quite a bit done. There is some GoPro footage. I'm not sure how much there is. We just tried to do a time lapse on building this, but I think at some point the memory card actually ran out. So again, just wanted to catch you up to speed. So unlike our other greenhouse, of course, we're putting the 2x6s and the 2x8s down here at the bottom, but unlike the other greenhouse, this has a higher sidewall, so there's actually 5 feet in between the bottom and the top post. So we did that all the way around. We went ahead and went ahead and fastened our C-clip for the wiggle wire and the plastic on the top board. How the bows are actually mounted, or somebody had made these little brackets, again, that came with the greenhouse. This was given to me, so we just fastened them on with some lags and did that on each side, and we threw the bows on. Still got a box in the doors. That's what I'm going to work on this evening. Corey's already went home for the day, It is getting kind of late, but I kind of got a second wind and thought I would come down here and start boxing these end walls out, kind of like the same fashion that we did here on our other greenhouse. Also, something different that we have to figure out is the fact that the bows that are up, that we have up already, and I know the sun's kind of bad there, those are all the bows that we have. But I did not want to shorten this greenhouse. I wanted to make it the same size as greenhouse number 1. So we are going to attempt to make a bow out of wood. Now, it won't be like a nice pretty half circle like that. It'll probably just be in steps and be more of an octagon, half of an octagon maybe, that kind of thing. We're just going to try to mirror the shape of the bow as much as we can, as much as possible. And when the plastic is over it and inflated, you know, I doubt you're really going to be able to tell the difference. Now we're working on our door here on our east side. Again, we're putting this 2x4 here, just plating it to let the door rest against it. What I like to do, you know, I'm not as concerned about level as much as just this 2x6 kind of being flush with the outside. So I'll just run this down through here, make sure it checks out, and then we'll just throw some screws in there like that, and same thing on this side. Now, another thing we've been doing when we're building our doors, as opposed to building them on the ground and then hanging them, which you can do that, we've been building them kind of on the structure. And by doing that, to me, it just makes it a little easier, because I can make sure I've got the accurate measurements. If something is out just a little bit, I can tweak it to do it that way. That's just my preference, but again, you could just build them on the ground and hang them up there. Another thing I like by kind of building them upright on the structure is that, you know, it's kind of hard to hold that door and get your hinges hung. If we've got it already up there, then it's easier for us to hang our hinges where we want them. And we'll just secure it in with a couple screws, you know, when we get it where we wanted it, and then we'll drill our holes and stuff for our hinges. Now, so we're going to start putting our hinges on here. This is just what I like to do. Again, I'm not a master carpenter, but we'll drop down about 1.5 inches here, and then bring it in 1.5 inches there. So 1.5 inches down and 1.5 inches in. We're using 3.5 inch lags, 1/4 inch lags, so they're pretty big. So we're going to drill a pilot hole in this top, or actually in all of them. But I'm going to go ahead and drill in here. We're going to put the first lag in, then I'll take my little pocket level and kind of make sure it's level, and then we'll drill the rest of the holes and put them in. Now also keep in mind, like right here, these two will get 1 inch lags, and that's because we've got that 2x4 plating that this 2x6 is resting against, so we can't go all the way through this board. Otherwise you won't be able to open it. So there you have it. We're going to go ahead and then throw on our bottom one and just repeat the process, and then we'll take our screws out that we put in there and then we'll test it and make sure it opens and closes okay. Like a charm. Alright, so we got that door finished up. We're going to go ahead and rinse and repeat here on this next one, and then hopefully get enough time, we'll go ahead and start working on getting the the polycarbonate sheeting on the end walls. Putting our end walls on here, putting this polycarbonate on. Really not much to this. Just cut it to length. I think we're using 86 inches, and then we're just putting the tech screw every other rib. This is overlapped a little bit. I think we overlapped it by 2 ribs there, or 3, instead of trying to cut it. But yeah, it works out pretty good that way. And just when you put your first piece on, kind of like we did here, we'll just set 1 screw in the corner and then put the level up here to make sure, you know, get it reasonably straight. All right, so we got the doors done. Now we're working on these side pieces. Basically, we're gonna, you know, we measured it out here. Of course, it don't take a full sheet here, so we'll have to cut 1 sheet down, and we'll cut it off about here, and then we'll make a little triangle piece to put up at the top, and it'll overlap just a little bit, kind of like we did here. It'll overlap crossing that board, but doing that, just try to avoid as much scrap as possible. But then just put our tech screws in, and that's all I got to do. Well folks, today has arrived. We're finally going to get to put plastic on greenhouse number 2 here. It is a little windy. Conditions aren't ideal, but we really needed to get it done. I'd like to get it done today because it's supposed to rain this weekend. If we can get this on this morning, then possibly I can go rent the little tiller tractor and we can get this tilled up and work on it while it's raining. So we got our plastic here. We got a 28 by 75 and then a 12 by 75. The 12 or the 28 by 75 will actually go all the way over the greenhouse and touch the ground on both sides, and we'll use that to make our roll-up curtains like we did on greenhouse number 1. The 12 by 75 will go on top of that, and that will act as an insulation barrier when we put an inflation fan in there. That's actually not necessary for summertime operations, but if you're heating your greenhouse, which we plan on doing in the future, then we want to have that insulation barrier in there to try to help keep some heat in. So how we're going to get the plastic over the greenhouse is basically, I bought these tennis balls. We'll take this plastic, we'll roll it out, and then we'll tie a tennis ball with these ropes again on the end, the middle, and on this end, and throw the rope over the greenhouse, and then we'll have some people kind of pull it over while some other people hold it on the other side. Usually the more people you got, the better. I think we're going to have, we'll have Corey, Cindy's coming, Justin's going to come over, and then Corey's dad's going to come help. So, but once you get the plastic over and you kind of get it straight and where you want it, we've got our wiggle wire. You've seen me talk about this. Once we get the plastic straight, we'll just take our wiggle wire and put it in a channel like that, and that will hold the plastic. So right now I'm just going to kind of lay some stuff out, get some stuff out of the way. Somebody put that lumber right in the way. Wonder who that could have been. Probably the guy that runs around here holding the camera, just saying. All right, a couple tips here. Before you lay out your plastic and everything, I suggest you get like everything ready, especially for questionable weather conditions. Shut up, bird. I don't get it. Why is there always so much noise up here? So much noise. Can't talk. Can't. You guys can't understand half the things I say up here. Oh Lord. They're mad. They're mad for some reason. I don't know why, but they're pretty mad. I wish they'd go be mad somewhere else. So a couple of quick tips here, guys. Before you roll out your plastic, I suggest you get like everything ready beforehand, especially like this wiggle wire. When it comes packaged, it's all packaged together like in a bundle, but it can be extremely difficult to get apart, and you don't want to be sitting there wasting time trying to get that, you know, the stuff apart when the wind might take your plastic. So I just go ahead and I open up the package and I lay it out all the way around the greenhouse. So even a couple extra sometimes to make sure there's plenty. Another tip, if you're on a corner like this and you've done it like kind of like we do, make sure you put some tape over that. We have on the other end, I've just got to go ahead and tape this, and I've actually got to finish taping off this end wall here. But yeah, make sure that you put some tape on that so you don't snag your plastic. Alright, we got one of the roll-up curtains about on. Basically, you just lay these pipes on top of your plastic, and they come with these little clips here, and you put some self-tappers in there. You want to make sure that you roll it underneath so when the rain comes down, it doesn't pool in that area there. And Justin and Corey, they're getting ready to put the wind straps on, kind of like we got on greenhouse number 1 over there, just to kind of help the wind from blowing the side curtains out and off of the resting spot, because it's actually going to rest right here on top of this 2x6 or 2x8. But yeah, maybe this will give you a little bit better idea. But we're just going to pull this plastic down tight, lay the pole on there, and then these little clips just clip over top of that, and then you put some self tappers in. But you want to make sure you put them ever so many feet. I think there's 15 or so down through there. You can see on the weather strapping here, it's basically some screws or some cap nails, and just pull that tight. We're probably going to go ahead and add some more in between the post here on greenhouse number 1 and greenhouse number 2. Just like that, the greenhouse is done. Hey, and here comes the trash. Just in time. Roll-up curtains on. We got our straps installed. Still got to put one, you know, we're going to put one in between each of the posts here, but you know, we can do that later. We got to do the same on greenhouse number 1, but overall looks pretty good, and it's already pretty warm in here. Now, one tip I will give you guys, because I'm not sure how much footage the camera was running, because I know it shut off when we were putting the plastic on and it was really windy, blowing everywhere. But start on the wind, or end that the wind is coming from, and then try to pull it on that way. So that's what we did. The wind was blowing this way, so we started down on this end, pulled it over with our tennis balls, and once we got that end fastened, you know, the wind kind of calmed down a little bit, but it really helped. It really helped us get in the rest of the plastic on by having that one end fastened. And you kind of want to make sure you keep your plastic straight. So, not sure if you can see those creases kind of there. We just kind of went by those creases about how far they were away in relation to the middle center bow up there when we were. So, but look, it's pretty straight, I believe. Looks pretty good. Well, that's going to wrap up the greenhouse build series, folks. Hope you found it useful. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good jazz. If you want to, drop a comment down below if you got any questions. We'll see you next time. Bye.